Vincent and the Grenadines. And once again, for those of you listening on Nice Radio and for those of you viewing via the New Democratic Party social media platforms, the Facebook and YouTube, we welcome you back to the New Times program. If you're just joining us, you just heard presentations from members of the New Democratic Party, Chairman the Honorable Daniel Cummins, Senator Israel Bruce, and of course, Sister Laverne Gibson Velox, the New Democratic Party's caretaker in East St. George. So once again, they're all joining us live here. Lady and of course, gentlemen, once again, welcome and congratulations. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation here on the budget. Folks, are you hearing me? All right. I'm not sure if they are hearing me. Okay, there seems to be audio relay issue here, but we are, of course, witnessing them live on Facebook. For those of you viewing live on Facebook, we're just trying to make sure that we have the audio so that they can, if you can hear me, just nod your head so we could know that, of course, the audio is going through on my end. We just want to make sure that we're hearing them on the other end. So we're just trying to get that sorted out, that technicality sorted out. But of course, again, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard presentations from the Honorable Daniel Cummins. He's also the chairman for the New Democratic Party on the budget, ladies and gentlemen. You also heard from Senator Israel Bruce, his budget response. Quite interesting and quite clear that the New Democratic Party had solid plans going forward. I see some thumbs up there from Mr. Cummins. So Mr. Cummins, you're hearing, you guys are hearing me loud and clear. All right, can I get an audio check on your side? Because even though you're hearing me, I'm not sure if I am hearing you at this present point in time. Can we just get a mic check? All right, well, we're not hearing you. We're receiving video, but I think what I'm seeing here is that the mics are muted. So if maybe you can unmute the, okay, wait, let's see.
No,
All right, give me a mic check.
1, 2.
Yes, good, wonderful. Hearing you loud and clear now.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So again, lady and gentlemen, thank you very much for a wonderful budget presentation. How good does it feel to finally be able to make a presentation, even though it's on this platform and not into the House of Parliament?
But I think you can see our listeners and viewers why they wrapped up the budget debate. The thunder that we on the New Democratic Party had to give them for the rubbish budget, they could not afford it. I'm particularly pleased that my friend from the East St. George could respond to the finance minister's attempt to look like a minister. And of course, the revelations by Senator Bruce are devastating. The agriculture sector is suffering and they're living in a cuckoo land.
Let me move on along the line in which we are going. Laverne, how does it feel sitting in Parliament, as you said, and heard the Minister of Finance making the national budget presentation, but also seemingly a special budget for East St. George? How did you feel about that, and why you felt the need to respond to his budget?
Because, Colin, I sat there listening to him and I was like, oh, he's responding to me. He's responding to everything I would have said in the past. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get an opportunity to deal with this. And this opportunity presented itself. I mean, I almost feel like a parliamentarian sitting between these two guys.
Soon.
So I really was, I think I covered most of what, the more pertinent things that he said, because as you know, Colin, because we worked closely last election, he, a lot of the things that he put in his thing as novel ideas were actually from our mini manifesto and things we would have discussed on the platform last election, and also things that I would have said in New York in October when the NDP visited and had their town hall meeting in Brooklyn.
All right. Senator Bruce, over to you. We noticed that your presentation had a lot of focus on agriculture. Why you felt the need to beat them on agriculture?
Well, Colin, first of all, there is a misgiving on the part of the government, and I say the government because the Minister of Finance said, and I repeated from his budget presentation, that the heart of the nation is with agriculture, the farmers and the fisher folks. But when you try to do the translation from what is said to reality, there is a monumental gap.
Disconnect.
And so, I mean, the farmers of this country are pleading, crying, screaming for help, whilst we have some surface, superficial sort of behavior from the government and the Minister of Agriculture, not really dealing with the bread and butter issues that are concerning to the farmers. The points that I have raised, some of the points that I have raised, are pretty germane to the very basic existence of our farmers. And if you're saying that we're going to use agriculture and fisheries and forestry to a lesser extent to help to reduce our import bill and to expand our export bill, there is this massive disconnect again between what we're doing to export more and to import less. And that is fundamentally a problem for me. And as a matter of accountability, it is my duty as the shadow minister to hold the Minister of Agriculture accountable and the Minister of Finance to the people of this country.
All right. There were quite a bit of exchange between yourself, Senator Bruce, as well as you, Mr. Cummins, in the House when the Prime Minister got up and was seemingly asking the Speaker of the House to indicate to the Minister of Finance to wrap up on the budget debate. Why was this? Why was it so important to engage and let people know that, look, this is unprecedented?
It is they call it a very strange situation where the Speaker calls for further debates. The Prime Minister has not debated the bill, stood up and said he regretted having to debate the bill now, but then turned around and directed that his son must wrap up. I said it in Parliament, and I firmly believe that he's losing his mind. He doesn't know whether today is Monday or Tuesday. You are debating the bill. You are debating the bill. He did not debate the bill. He stood and said he regrets he has to debate now. And then in the same breath, turn around and say, however, he's not debating and call on his son to wrap up. But it's clear that they're running they're afraid for the NDP team to dismantle the rubbish that they presented for a budget. It is really a disgrace, total disgrace.
Senator Bruce, I don't know if you want to jump in on that same question.
Well, you see, Colin, I said it before and I'll say it again. There was a clear indication given by the member for North Central Windward, Mr. Ralph Gonzalez, that he would debate the budget in the face of others not getting up. So when he got up, when he himself got up, because people, I want people to remember the transactions as they were. Gonzalez got up, indicated to the House that he was moving on this understanding order 12.5 for the proceedings of the House to go beyond the 5 o'clock hour. He took his seat. Speaker said for the debate, Honorable Member for West Kingstown, Mr. Daniel Cummins, got up, said, look, I am making some housekeeping announcement as regards MPs Bramble and Stevenson. Mm-hmm. He took his seat. The Speaker said, for the debate, the member for North Central Windward, Mr. Ralph Gonzalez, got up again under the rubric and the invitation of for the debate. Mm-hmm. And then is when he made the pronouncement that he was hoping to talk on Friday. He was not supposed to talk now, but if nobody else wanted to talk, and then he invited the minister, the rep for East St. George, Mr. Camilo Gonzalez, to wrap up the debate. And he automatically accepted that invitation, and the Speaker acquiesced by recognizing him quite naturally, and they wrapped up the debate. But prior to that, Mr. Gonzalez, Ralph Gonzalez, approached me to ask me whether or not I was addressing the budget on the morning of Wednesday. And I said, no. Let one of your members go first, and one of us would follow thereafter. I think to that extent I suggested to him. And he was essentially almost pleading to the members on the lower end of his bench. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Kisal Peters, the Minister of Urban Planning, Foreign Affairs, Kisal Peters, Urban Planning, Benerva Brown, Shaquille Bob, and Ashel Morgan. He was actually pleading one of them to get up and speak. And it must be noted, Colin, that staff members from the Ministry of Tourism and Culture had already taken their seat in the public gallery because I assume the expectation was, or the trickery was, by saying they would believe that they're going to debate the budget. Because clearly, as Daniel said, the ULP ran away from debating their own budget.
I think the Prime Minister was very disappointed with his team and was confused because the staff from tourism were there. And if you follow the budget procedures, the minister brings his staff at the time when he's going to present. So the expectation from Ralph Gonzalez was for his tourism minister to present, but he was nowhere around. He was nowhere around.
Neither was the Minister of Education, neither was the Minister of Social Services, neither was the Minister of Public Service, and I am not mentioning the Minister of Health because he was out of state due to the passing of his mother.
So it was almost like he was trying to give the impression that on the opposition side, nobody was interested in debating the budget.
That was far from the truth, Colin. And part of the question that you asked, why it became so raucous between ourselves and Gonzalez? I was really disappointed.
Mortified.
Because I was properly prepared to present. I just presented this morning in 48 minutes. I have not touched a great substance of what I still have. My good friend has given some guidance into the future. The point is that there was much more. In the fishery subsector, I had a great deal more to address. And what is happening with fishermen cooperatives, and what is happening with fisher folks, the compensation scheme that is in place. The ID program for fishermen is also another travesty that has been heaped upon the people of this country. Half of the nonsense in the Ministry of Agriculture has not been told. Half of that story has not been told. And I did not get a chance to delve into as deep as I wish. And I apologize to my constituents, but I will do so in a public meeting when the first public meeting kicks off on the 3rd of February in Chapman's in South Central Windward.
I want to put the public aware of another important component to this fiasco, because I got into the parliament on that day about 2 minutes late. They had already started. But they were just about to start actually. I remember the representative for North Central Windward going around, and you could see him panicking because it didn't have a quorum when the time came. If the 4 members on the New Democratic Party did not turn up then, Parliament could not start. The government had only 4 members present at the time I entered the Parliament. That is a simple reaction. So he was already frustrated that his members did not turn up. And he goes, he can't keep quiet nowadays, if he sits down for 5 minutes without somebody interrupting him, he falls asleep. So he's pacing and prancing and can't get his members to be present, and that frustrated him. And when he went to his senators and asked them to speak, and they said no, it further frustrated him, and that is why he lost it. He didn't know whether he was debating or asking to wrap up.
But clearly, it shows that the members of the New Democratic Party were more than well and prepared to debate the budget in the House. I mean, this was also said by Dr. Friday when he made his presentation the very next day, that he said, look, he got the budget, went home after the debate, and of course did his research, burned the midnight oil, and was there the very next day to debate the budget and give his half of the presentation. And I mean, clearly, when I sit here and listen to each of you, I get the sense that there is so much more that you wanted to present and talk on. And I mean, it has to be disheartening.
Nature, for example, Honorable Nature Stephenson was not feeling well on Monday and Tuesday.
On his way to Parliament.
He left home, reached NDP headquarters following, and was about to come to Parliament when this happened. Everybody was ready to prepare because the budget was a very serious exercise. But the other side can't take the pressure, so they close it down.
All right. Well, as we get ready to wrap up here on the program today, again, I just want each of you to leave something with our viewers and our listeners from the New Democratic Party standpoint in response of this budget. Mr. Chairman Daniel, comments, I will go with you.
I thank you, Colin. First of all, let me thank you for hosting this exercise. I think it's the first time I recall this ever been done in the format it is done, and I really feel pleased to have my dear friend from East St. George, the next representative, join us.
That's right.
And Senator Bruce. What we've given you, certainly what I've given you today, is a skeleton of the matters I wanted to discuss on the budget debate in Parliament, and I see you in on some of the critical ones. In the weeks ahead, we will follow up on a number of related matters, because I want the people of this country to understand that for us, being in Parliament is a serious matter. We put people first. Everything that we do, we put the people of this country at the center. And that, when I say the people, I'm not just talking about people who support the New Democratic Party. Every citizen of this country has a right to proper health care. The point that Senator Bruce made about the farmer's ID, I have a farmer's ID. I had to produce a deed for the 2 acres of land, 2.5 acres of land that I have been having people farm for a number of years before I could get my ID. But clearly there are hundreds of people who, for political and other reasons, who don't qualify, who have farmer's ID, and that's where the system is undermined. That's why we have so many problems in this country. That's why you have to pray their last name matters can be solved. I know Israel, there's so many things Israel wanted to talk about, but the idea is this is a start, and we will get down into more details into that. Thanks again, everybody.
All right, Sister Velox.
Colin, I'm just very grateful to have been afforded this opportunity to come here today to express my own views relative to what was said in the budget and about the budget being an East St. George budget, and to dispel that and to let the people know that for all these years they've been short-changed. And if at this 99th hour, when there's an election looming by next year at least, that, this is when they're getting all these goodies. They need to understand that goodies are not just for elections. They're supposed to be benefiting all year long, every year. And they are entitled to be served by their representative. And that is what I plan to do when I become the next representative of East St. George. I'm going to serve the people of East St. George to the best of my ability.
All right, thank you very much. Senator Bruce, for the wrap-up.
Yeah, Colin, speaking in the context of the true fisherman, my task therefore is to pull up the sail on these discussions. And I am telling you, and to the listeners of this country, that what I essentially saw from the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Industry and Labor, et al., is, for the most part, a cut and paste budget. But you cannot cut and paste the pain and suffering of the farmers and the people of this country. And so this government is not serious about what they're doing for our people. I saw Greg's Health Clinic down to get some refurbishment. But if the source of the funding is local, which is from the other receipts, I said to the people of Greg's, Banner Belly, it ain't gonna happen. I saw in the estimates to repair a portion of road in Lauders. But the portion of road has already been repaired. But they put it back by virtue of cut and paste. They put it back in the estimates. That's why I said to you that they can't be serious. When the farmers don't see the extension services officers come to them as they should to provide the support, it's because the travel allowance can be met because the budget has a shortfall of over $200+ million. Pulling up the same means that the people of this country must not forgive the ULP, where the Prime Minister, head of government, has been responsible for national security in a time when crime has gone rampant in our country, and the Minister with responsibility for national security and legal affairs refused to debate the budget as Prime Minister. If you find it any place in the world where the Prime Minister of the country refused to debate the budget. Not only did he refuse, he invited the wrapping up of the budget without his contribution as Prime Minister. If you find that happening any other place in the world, I write you a check for $1,000. Say no.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Lady and gentlemen, again, I want to thank you so very much. And we thank you for your budget presentation.
My apologies. I know I said say enough, but I'll say enough for the general presentation. I want to use 1 minute of your time to say to the family and friends of my good friend Theo in Hadley's Village, I share your loss. Theo called me every time she saw me, her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say, I lose my dear wife. I share and I sympathize with the family. I shall be in Hadley's Village. And you guys can call on me. You know I am always just a phone call away. And again, I repeat the mournings of Pastor Violan Cupid, who put to rest on Sunday last the Venerable Martin Cupid Sr. All the best to those families.
All right. Once again, thank you very much, folks. And of course, that brings us to the end of another edition of the New Times program. Today, you heard from Chairman of the NDP, elected representative for the constituency of West Kingstown, the Honorable Daniel Cummins. You also heard from Senator Israel Bruce and his budget response. And of course, we also heard from the New Democratic Party's caretaker for the constituency of East St. George, Laverne Gibson Villock. So thank you so very much for joining us here on the New Times program today and for your budget responses and presentations. That, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of another edition of the New Times program. We encourage you to tune in again tomorrow, where you will be hearing more presentations from the members of the New Democratic Party right here on the New Times program, and of course, live streamed on the New Democratic Party's Facebook page, as well as the YouTube page. If you missed it, please share it with your family, friends, and other members. Let the message be heard that the New Democratic Party has the clear way forward for a better St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I was your host today on the New Times program, Colin Graham. I want to say thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of this program. Join us again tomorrow. Your host will be Bert Francois, anchoring another edition of the New Times program. Until then, God bless. Thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of the program.